morning and welcome to the Abundant Retirement Show from Ross Wealth Advisors. And here, as always, on this beautiful Sunday morning, doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever, the sun's shining. It's always a beautiful Sunday morning.
It's beautiful because we're vertical.
And that is indeed very true.
We're
Don
upright.
Ross, the retirement boss from Ross Wealth Advisors.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Awesome. How are you, Joe?
I am fantastic. It's good to be ambulatory and taking nourishment, and two incredibly positive things. And we appreciate you tuning in for the Abundant Retirement Show. We're here every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on Rewind. And for the past couple of weeks, we've been discovering and discussing myths of retirement.
Yep.
And we're going to continue doing that again today. Before I get to a little recap of what we've covered in the first couple of weeks and then what we're going to get to today, I do want to mention something that is new, and it's a new method of being able to contact Ross Wealth Advisors.
Yep.
When you hear information on this program, it's going to cause you to think, wait a second, I don't know the answer to that, or I want to get the answer to that. And the new thing you can do now is you can text to get in contact with Ross Wealth Advisors.
Which a lot of people like texting.
Absolutely.
And our clients are predominantly 50 to 75, 80, and all of them are texting, and some of them it's their preferred mode of communication, in addition to email and phone, of course. So
it's convenient. I mean, it's interesting because, you know, if your phone rings and you see it ringing, you generally, I better answer it.
Yep.
Someone sends you a text, okay, I'll look at it in 5 minutes. I'm doing something else right this minute. I can look at it in 5 minutes, and nobody seems to mind. So it's very convenient. So if you would like to text Ross Wealth Advisors to get in touch with Don, to have him set up a meeting with Don, it's 797979. Easy to remember.
That.
797979.
Gosh, what could that number be tied to?
What could that number be tied to,
I don't know, 2
Don?
years before I graduated from high school, 79.
Yeah, that's possible.
But that means nothing to anybody listening, so.
But it could mean an awful lot to you. It could mean really the key to your abundant retirement and the key to enjoying your retirement. Because that's what Ross Wealth Advisors and Don are all about. Planning and helping you make sure that your written plan does provide for your abundant retirement. And that's what Ross Wealth Advisors has done for a number of years. Don's done it for
a number of people,
we're talking 30 years. We're not...
1987. Hard to believe.
So, congratulations last year on your 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, what I like to say, Joe, is I want to help people get to and through retirement. You know, just last week I had a few calls and met with a couple of people, and, they're not retired yet, which many of our clients aren't. And they just want to know that they're, in shape for retiring in the next few years, or maybe you're already retired.
You said something interesting there, Don. You said you want to make sure that people get to and through retirement.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people look at retirement as an end game, like the day you retire. It's well beyond that. Retirement is the beginning of something new. Yeah. I think a lot of people look at it as, well, this is the end of my career, or this is the end of me, gathering money to spend in my retirement. But it's the beginning of a new phase in life versus, just an end. It's a beginning.
Right, which is, of the four myths we're going to cover, myth 3 today is retirement means not working. Just like, how about I summarize? Myth 1 is it's a number. Myth 2 is spend consistent amount through retirement. And myth 3 of 4 is that retirement means not working. And so
that's
what I want to talk about.
Okay, so let's dive into that. We obviously, when we covered myth 1 is probably the biggest, the overarching myth of retirement, that retirement is a number. And we did that a couple of weeks ago on the program. Myth 2, spending a consistent amount during retirement. Quick recap on that for those that might have missed it last week.
Well, you won't. And we talked about the phases of retirement when it's spending. There's the go-go years, the first 5 to 10 years of retirement, you'll spend more.
Sure.
There's the slow go, which is maybe your late 70s, early 80s. Again, it's different for everybody. And then the no-go years. My dad's 87, and he's definitely chilled out, but he's still very viable and active. So that's what we meant, is it's not going to be a consistent amount, especially with inflation out there.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So myth 4 is retirement means not working. And, I want to talk today about the transition to retiring. And again, if you're retired, you can still listen, because we're going to talk about why your portfolio needs reviewed with our portfolio MRI. But it's about transitioning to retirement, not quitting. We focus in our office on the quality of life. And some people in our first sit down together, I'm talking about what do you want to do? What's important to you? And just because you may leave a job. Now, if you're police, fire, military, certain workers, you have to retire at a certain age or date. But many of you are able to continue on or transition slowly to retirement. So when I focus on quality of life, Joe, research shows that keeping active and viable in retirement and up to retirement, or really any time in your life, there's physical, mental, socially, and financial benefits to that.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. And if you can retire with peace of mind, which is what I'm in the business of providing.
Absolutely.
Then you can have that all those benefits, feeling better, mentally in shape, which, of course, you may be more socially active and financially healthy.
What I'm hearing, I think really, and this is kind of a different way of maybe looking at things, that when you retire, your life really shouldn't change so dramatically. You should continue living your life and doing all the things that you do and being socially active and all the things that you have done up to that point. And it should just be a continuation of your life. And maybe there will be some changes if you choose to have changes, because you may have more time available. You may not have more time available. You may already have plans to do volunteer work or get involved in a charity and have less time than you did when you were working.
A lot of our clients are busier now. They're like, I don't even know how I have time to work.
Right.
So those are the kind of people we work with that are generally mentally happy or socially active. And if you are that kind of person that is looking for a rewarding retirement, then we do see eye to eye, and we have a philosophical agreement.
And that's very important. And, this would probably be a good time to just reiterate the fact that Ross Wealth Advisors is for the person who is either retired or, as Don likes to say, retirement-minded, which is 5 to, say, 10 years possibly.
From retirement, yeah.
From retirement or currently retired.
Yep.
So, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, today is not necessarily the day for you to get involved with Ross Wealth Advisors, unless, of course, you're thinking you want to retire at 40 and you've got 10 years to go.
We'll do that.
Absolutely. But you're really looking to make sure that people who are seeing the retirement light at the end of the proverbial tunnel will have a good, solid, well laid out, written income plan for their retirement years, which is every year. You look at the actuarial tables, it's a longer period of time, and you don't really know, but you need to have a plan in place.
Yeah, and it's very simple. In addition to analyzing your portfolio, the MRI, the written income plan is very, very important, and that's part of our overall comprehensive package. And like we said earlier, you know what? If you just want to say MRI or plan with Don or visit any of those words, you want to text to 797979. We will follow up with you ASAP about answering your questions. And if that means a one-on-one, which is where we really get the most traction, sitting down one-on-one in our office right here in Central Ohio, you and me one-on-one, not me or you and some junior advisor I'm hiring.
Not somebody whose number just came up and then they get the next person that walks in the door. That doesn't work that way.
I left that environment. I left the big firm. We're independent all the way, and that's to your advantage. So that's important.
The text number is new, and please feel free to utilize it, 797979, to get in touch with Ross Wealth Advisors. On the web, there's a plethora of information that, if you don't hear exactly what you are interested in this morning, go to the website, rosswealthadvisors.com.
Yep.
You're bound to get more information about some of the things you'll hear this morning or that you've heard in the program in the past. And, of course, you can always call the office. You can call right now, as a matter of fact. If you've heard enough already and it's like, okay, I just want to call, 614-545-0277. And that is the opportunity to schedule a one-on-one with Don Ross.
Or, email me directly. I have some people that want to start that dialogue. But most people will call or text or email and just say, hey, let's get together and start talking about my retirement plan. And many of you have advisor relationships, and that is okay. We're going to validate you're in good shape, or we're going to show you where there might be some holes in your plan. And most of you most everyone out there has kind of a feeling if they're not getting the true advice of looking at everything, their portfolio, income planning, Social Security planning, all that has to work together. And if you have a pension in healthcare, what about a healthcare plan? And like Joe was talking about our written income plan, it looks at everything. And it all starts off with analyzing your portfolio for risk, fees, cost, diversification. Let's make sure you understand what's in your 401k or your portfolio.
And I think it's fair to say that there are a number of people. I hope it's not a majority, but I know that it's probably quite a few. It's a big percentage of people that have these questions. They have questions, and they're either afraid to ask because, especially if you've had a successful career, you've earned a good deal of money, you've put money away. You may be a little hesitant to want to show that you don't necessarily know everything about your retirement. That's coming up. And that's a shame, because if you don't ask, you can't get an answer.
I can't tell you the number of people I've sat down who the world would look at them very successful, but they had their head down for 20, 30 years and just all of a sudden one day they go, you know what, I probably had to be prepared for retirement, or I am retired and I'm kind of afraid of the markets or taxes. We want to look at all that. So I've seen it all. Joe, and I work with every kind of walk of life, every kind of background. And you need to have a plan that's looked at by an independent advisor, because we're not swayed by the brokerage firm that employs us or the bank that employs us. I mean, they all have their great place. But when someone comes in and we do a full blown plan for them, especially the ones that have an advisor, they see the difference where we're a distribution income expertise where, during your 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, you're accumulating. And accumulating is the easy part.
That's right. It may not seem like it at times, but you're right. It is, because
it really is, because you have time to make up.
It keeps coming in. Right.
So you're saving, but when you start taking that money out, it's
changes.
A whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
it's called reverse dollar cost averaging. So, I'd like to. We're going to go to break here in a couple minutes, and so. Joe, why don't you give them a little more idea of how to get a hold of us?
Absolutely.
And talk about a portfolio review.
And you can absolutely call at any time. You can call right now. The message will get through to Don directly, 614-545-0277. That puts you in touch with Ross Wealth Advisors. Go to the website if you want a little more information before you take that next step.
Yep.
You will, but feel free. Do it at your leisure. rosswealthadvisors.com. And or send an email to Don. It's don@rosswealthadvisors.com. He'll respond to you. Don will respond to you.
Absolutely.
It's not. You're not going to get a robot or computer or somebody in the office that.
I'll respond by the end of today.
Absolutely. So it's don@rosswealthadvisors.com, or make it even easier on yourself. Just text 797979. Mention visit with Don or MRI or I need Don's help. Either one. Any of those will definitely work, and get Don Ross from Ross Wealth Advisors in touch with you. And this is the Abundant Retirement Show. We'll return on Rewind. Joe Bradley here with Don Ross, the retirement boss of Ross Wealth Advisors, and we're discussing retirement planning versus retirement income planning. It's just a one word, but big difference, right, Don?
Absolutely. Significant difference, Joe. Retirement planning is about growing your assets, like in your 401ks, your IRAs, deferred comp. So when you retire, you have that money to enjoy that abundant retirement. Retirement income planning is different in our area of expertise. Remember, when that paycheck stops, everything changes. Are your assets positioned and invested properly to generate reliable income, regardless of what happens on Wall Street or Main Street, and more importantly, how long you live?
So Ross Wealth Advisors is really about specializing in this, right?
Absolutely. Any mistakes during this phase of your life could be catastrophic.
Whether you're retired or within 5 years of retiring, or just have concerns about whether you're going to have enough money, call Don's office and schedule a complimentary visit. The number is 614-545-0277, or you can simply visit rosswealthadvisors.com. Welcome back to the Abundant Retirement Show from Ross Wealth Advisors. The retirement boss, Don Ross, sitting right next to me, and he is here to focus on your abundant retirement. And if you are retired now or within, say, 10 years of retirement, you're retirement-minded, Don would like to meet with you. He would like to speak with you, even if you have an advisor already.
Absolutely.
It doesn't hurt to ask the questions. I mean, that's the way you get answers.
Yep.
And sometimes they're the answers you want. Sometimes they're answers that tell you need to take other action.
Absolutely.
And, and when we've talked about in the past, the one thing you don't have as you get closer to retirement is you don't have time that you do when you're younger. So don't waste time. Make sure you reach out to Ross Wealth Advisors by phone, 614-545-0277. Don at rosswealthadvisors.com is the email. Goes directly to Don, and he will respond.
Yep.
Or you can text 797979. That is the text. Don, help with an exclamation point will work. MRI or help me out, look at me, let's meet, anything, any message like that, and it will get through. And let's talk about the people that you have the most ability to help, and those that you work with, because you don't work with everybody.
No. Where we can really help you most is if you've saved at least $250,000 for retirement, the first thing we have to do is analyze your portfolio. The portfolio MRI is going to look at the risk you're taking. Some of you, no offense, if you're 50 or 60 or more, your investments are as if you're 25 years old, overly risky, and if we have another market correction, you're going to get hurt, and now you don't have time to make up. So that's really the most important part is getting that looked at. And that's, again, if you text that, then I know that you want to sit down and analyze your portfolio. Or like we talked about earlier, let's take a look at your comprehensive planning, because that's where we really help. We're doing full planning. We're looking at everything to include healthcare, taxes. How are you going to take your savings and generate income from it? Or I call it cash flow. How do you go from a paycheck to a playcheck? And since we're talking about it, and
that's kind of brings us back around to myth number 3 about retirement that we're discussing today, and that is that retirement means not working.
Correct. And so what I've found with the many I've sat with, and by the way, if you just go to my website and just look at the landing page video, it's about 3 minutes long. You'll hear who I am, my background, what I've done, and actual videos of me sitting with clients. And what I have found, since I focus on what kind of quality of life do you want to have, when you transition from maybe a job you've had to retirement, I've seen many people retire and transition to things like consulting with the firm they're leaving. A lot of teachers and school employees will retire, take their STRS or SERS, and then go back and work for that school district.
Very common, especially in education, for sure.
Yep, maybe transition to something working out of your home, some kind of side business. I have a client who was in the tech field forever, and what he's always wanted to do, and we retired him 2 years ago, he's always wanted to just work on cars, so he has an extra garage, and he's busier than he can keep up with.
See,
so that's quality of life. And, freelance work. How about skills to teach others? I know numerous people that have retired and gone into kind of pseudo teaching.
Like mentoring. There's quite a bit of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so there's a lot of options. I had a couple, Sarah and Tom, they're age 60. They're planning to retire in 2020. She was concerned Tom will be bored.
Well, that's a concern. I mean, it's a different dynamic when there's a major life change. If you could possibly equate it to being younger, say being in your 40s and say either losing your job or changing a career. I mean, it changes the dynamic of your entire life.
Well,
really.
Some people, they joke when I ask them in the office, you're going to retire together? They're like, absolutely not. So,
one of us has to be out of the house.
So Sarah and Tom, they came in after meeting 2 other advisors, and they really appreciated how our visit is focusing on not their investments, like the other advisors they talked to, but we talked about understanding what are their quality of lives, what do they want to do, and how do they see themselves 10, 20 years down the road? And basically we developed a plan of action that no one really ever talked about with him because he didn't think it was doable. And that just gave him a whole, lift in his loafers, if you will. And he was just really, really excited about retiring. And we're going to get him retired in 2020 instead of, they were thinking 2023. And
Right.
that's quality of life. And, when Sarah and Tom came in, we did a full portfolio review. We put an income plan together. And, whether you're married or not, like Sarah and Tom, I work with many widows, widowers, singles. All of you have an objective to have that abundant retirement, know you can spend with confidence. And so retirement doesn't mean you're not working.
That you're not working.
It can be whatever you define. I love sitting down and talking about that. Let's define your retirement.
And I think that really is a key, and we should. I want to emphasize it because I think it's incredibly important, frankly. And you've mentioned it, and you've mentioned it from the very beginning of our relationship, and that is the fact that you're not. The Ross Wealth Advisors is a little different. I mean, you're about what people want for their life, what they want for their abundant retirement. Now, the numbers come into play at some point. I mean, they're very critical to that actual
your numbers
planning.
are what they are.
But they are what they are. But the reality is you want to know what people want out of life, what they want out of their abundant retirement. And then you have a place to start versus, somebody that maybe just looks at only the numbers and says, well, here's how we can get you a bigger number. Because then we go back to myth number one, which is retirement is a number. It's not just a number.
No, right.
There are numbers involved, but it's not just a number.
It's about life. Joe, I could tell you numerous stories of people that we went through the planning process and I could show them they could retire sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And many of these people, I hate to say it, but there's that H word. They hated their job.
They jumped at it. Absolutely.
And, but some of them didn't. So what happened is when I could show them that they could retire with confidence, and we had a year-by-year plan written out, their mindset changed. Like, I kind of can deal with my boss. It's kind of a jerk,
I mean, it's kind of like it's the old lottery joke. It's the old. Well, if I won the lottery, I mean, going to work would be a whole lot easier because you'd
right.
feel confident. But I don't have to be here. I can. There are other choices available to me.
It's about building a plan that you retire on your terms. Okay?
Right.
Not an age, not a number, not a date. You retire when you're ready. And it's been kind of fun seeing people that their whole persona almost changes because they're just done with the stress.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At 62 years young, being handed a book of new binders of products you have to learn is a lot more stressful than a 22-year-old right out of college. Like in the pharmaceutical world.
Sure, absolutely.
I had one client, I can't tell you the look on her face when she actually retired based on working together, and she almost looked like a different person the next day because the stress was just washed away. And, if you feel that way, and whether you're 5 or 10 years out or retired, let's sit down and put a plan together. And it starts with looking at your portfolio and how you've saved and understanding what's really in there other than just a name of a fund. And if we do the portfolio MRI, if you saved at least $250,000, I can bring you terrific value on that. And so shoot a text, 797979. Email me directly or visit the website to get to know me a little bit better.
It's rosswealthadvisors.com. Very easy to remember. It's Don Ross, the retirement boss, rosswealthadvisors.com. One of the critical things that you mentioned there, Don, was actually taking a look at a person's portfolio or a couple's portfolio and seeing what is actually in it, because I think it's unfortunate to say this, but a lot of people don't necessarily really know. Well, they don't know, A, what's in their portfolio, and B, the thing that is really, really disheartening, they don't know how much they're paying in fees.
Yeah, I always joke.
A lot of the time.
I always joke, when you go to the grocery store, you have a good idea what a gallon of milk is.
Absolutely.
Or what a golf shirt costs like I'm wearing, but most people have no idea what their costs are in their portfolios.
And you should.
And here's the other thing.
Just as much as you should know when you go to the grocery store and you see milk for $7 a gallon, there's something wrong. You should not be paying $7 a gallon for milk. Yeah. We may be paying that for gas here before too long if it keeps going up.
Yeah,
but not milk.
Well, and the other thing is the time on your side. Some of you are retired, some of you are ready to retire. You need to make sure it's in the right position, because, in 2001 and 2008, I saw and heard, like many of you, some horror stories because, when we analyze their portfolio, again, you're 55 or 60, and if you have a portfolio like a 25-year-old, meaning aggressive growth, it could be problematic.
Well, and for some people, they may think, well, gosh, isn't that what I want? Don't I want those big returns? Don't I want that aggressive growth? Well, in the right time and place,
maybe,
yes,
but it's
you
case
do.
by case. It's case by case, and that's why we have to sit down and put together a good plan so that meets your needs. And again, being independent, I don't answer to any brokerage firm or bank or mutual fund that would employ me. I answer to you directly, and really your advocate. I'm sitting on your side of the table as an independent advisor and helping you make the best decisions. And frankly, we're not for everybody. Absolutely not for everybody, because some people I don't see eye to eye with. Some people, frankly, aren't nice, and we just don't want them around. The person that flips you the bird down the highway just because you swerve? Yeah, we're not a good fit.
Well, and the reality is, and that's a critical thing, too, to mention the fact that Don doesn't have to report to a district manager who is on his back and saying, well, you've only gotten 2 new clients this month.
No.
You better pick it up, buddy. That's not the way it works.
I left that world.
We call Don the retirement boss for a reason. He is in charge of the way Ross Wealth Advisors runs. His wife may argue that point, but the reality is the decisions that are made by Don. And when he says
together on a comprehensive basis with you,
and when he says he doesn't necessarily work with everyone, you do have to have there has to be chemistry there, and your ideas of what you want out of your abundant retirement have to mesh with what Don is able to do for you.
Yeah, we got to like each other. That's very important, because you know what? If you become a client, or anybody does, on our end, it's a lifetime commitment. Whether you transition to retirement and not work, or like we're talking about today, you do some kind of work, I'm looking at it as a lifetime commitment. I'm going to deliver world-class service in a beautiful environment in our offices here in Upper Arlington. And it still blows my mind. I had a new person in this week telling me about her current experience, and she's like, I don't get any contact. I don't, it's interesting. I've seen stories over and over, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a service industry, and no one's getting service.
You're really, that's exactly what you're offering is a service.
One of my favorite analogies, it's kind of funny. It's there's a hotel chain, maybe you've heard of it, called the Ritz-Carlton.
Yes.
It's quite swanky, but there's an effect called the Ritz-Carlton effect, and it's basically when a customer asks any employee, from the president down to the room cleaners, the question is what? The answer is yes. So, or the answer is yes, what's your question? And we're the same way. That's world-class service that we want to deliver with prompt phone calls and, first of all, taking care of you. So I think we're about wrapping up for today. If you want to take us to the end, Joe, I've had a good time with you, and I look forward to next week. And next week will be Myth 4.
Yes, we will jump into myth number 4 about retirement, and we don't want you to miss it. So make sure you do join us again next Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on Rewind. In the meantime, however, get in touch with Ross Wealth Advisors. It's imperative that you do so that you can get the answers that you need. Even if you think you might have the answers now, double check.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt to ask. The only answer that's not useful is the one that you don't ever get. So make sure
there's plenty of people not getting answers they're looking for.
And that's not good. RossWealthAdvisors.com. That is the website.
Hey, say the retirement boss again.
And it's Don Ross, the retirement boss. And that's how it's just very easy to remember. And just, if you send Don an email at don@RossWealthAdvisors, just put in it subject, call me boss.
There you go.
Or email me boss. And you can do that. You can also text now, 797979. Get you to Ross Wealth Advisors, and Don will sit down with you one-on-one and find out how he can help you with your abundant retirement.